In addition to central tendency, every data that can be categorized in the variation and the shape. The variation measures the spread or dispersion of the values in the data set. One simple measure for the variation is the range, the difference between the largest and the smallest values, more commonly used in statistics as the standard deviation and the variance. These are the two measures that explained in this section. The shape of the data represents the pattern of all the values and the values from the lowest to the highest value. So let's talk about the range first. The range is the difference between the largest and the smallest value, and in the simplest numerical descriptive measures of the variation in the set of the data. The range is equal to the largest value minus the smallest value. Okay. So, for example, if you, on the equation that we saw, or the value table that we saw in the case of measures of central tendency, that is that people, how many, what is the amount of time that is required to get ready in the morning to attend our offices or institute or different works that we are associated with. Okay. So analyze the sample of the this 10 times to get ready in the morning. You can compute the range. Okay. So to do that, you need to first rank the array, as we did in case of uh, calculating our median. Okay. So once we have calculated the put them arranged in the order or ordered array from smallest to largest. Okay. So we can use the equation NDS 5 to calculate the maximum value, that is the maximum minus the minimum. When we arrange the data, it is in an ordered form from smallest to largest. It is easy to identify which is the smallest and which is the largest. Okay. The range for of 23 minutes indicates that there is a large difference between any 2 days in the time to get ready in the morning. The range measures the total spread of the set of data. Although the data is a simple measure of the total variation in the data, it does not take into account how the data are distributed between the smallest and the largest. In other words, the range does not indicate whether the values are evenly distributed throughout the data set, clustered near the middle, or clustered near any one or the both of the extremes. Thus, using range as the measures of variation when at least one value is at the extreme value, it will be misleading. Being on the simple measures of variation, the range does not consider how the values distribute or cluster between the extreme. Two commonly used measures for the variation that accounts for how all the values are distributed are the variance and the standard deviation. These statistics measures the average scattered around the mean, how larger the value fluctuates above it, and how smaller the values fluctuates below it. A simple measures of variation around the mean might takes the difference between each value and mean and the sum of these differences. However, if you if if you did that, you find that these differences sums to be zero, because the mean is the balancing point in every set of the data. The measures of the variation that differs from one data set to other to another, the set square the differences between each values and the mean, and then sum of these square differences. The sum of these square differences, known as the sum of squares, is then used to compute the sample variance, that is S square, and the sample standard deviation. The sample variance is the sum of a square divided by the sample size minus 1. The sample standard deviation is the square root of the sample variance. because this sum of the square will always be non-negative according to the rule of algebra, neither the variance nor the standard deviation can ever be negative. For virtually all the set of the data, the variance and the standard deviation will be positive values. Both of these statistics will be zero only if the values in the sample is a small value. Okay. For example, sample containing n numbers of n numbers of values, that is x1, x2, x2, x3. The sample variance or the s square will be the summation of x1 minus x bar square. Okay. That is once we calculate the mean. Okay. N minus 1. So this equation defines the variation, small standard deviation using the summation notation. The term summation n starting from I is equal to 1 to n in bracket, that is x1 to x bar. Okay, so it starts from 1 to n. N is the number of data, that is this, or what we call as the sample size. Note that then we have got the standard deviation equation, that is square root of the sample variance. Okay, so we have got sample variation, and then we variance, and then we have got sample standard deviation. Note that in both the equation, the sum of a square is divided by the sample size minus 1. The value is used for the reason having to do with the statistical inference and the properties of the sampling distribution, but we will be discussing in the latter different sections. Uh, for now, observe that the difference between the dividing by n and n minus 1 becomes smaller as the sample size increases. To hand compute the values of standard deviation and the sample variance and the sample standard deviation, first you need to compute the difference between each values and the mean, square each of the differences, add the square differences, divide the total by n minus 1 to compute the central sample variance, take the square root of the sample variance to compute the standard deviation. We will be doing on all the processes even on the Excel itself. Okay, so we can do it the calculation process, but being into statistics, I would suggest that you should also know the process of manual calculating in case there is an issue related to the calculation of the values. Okay. So let's use our example of time taken to get ready. Okay. Uh, this is the table. We have put all the details in the 4 steps of calculating the variance and the standard deviation with the mean equal to 39.6 that we have derived the data from uh, the measures of central tendency section that we discussed earlier. So this total, so we are getting that total here. Okay. And that total is divided by n minus 1, that is 9. Because the variance is the squared unit in the squared minute, to compute the standard deviation, you need to take the square root of the variance. Okay. So in the equation what we did earlier, okay, so as we got the sample variance, okay, so now sample variance, that is we take the square root of that and get the standard deviation of the sample. Now this indicates that getting ready times in the sample mean are clustering within 6.77 minutes, around the mean of 39.6 minutes that we calculated while we using the calculated from the central measures of central tendency. So using the second column in the previous table. Okay. we can compute the sum of the differences between each of the values for each of the set of data. The sum will always be 0. Okay, so we calculate, if we add up all these values, it will become, the value will be 0. This property is one of the reasons that the mean is used as the most common measures of the central tendency. Okay. But again, while using the mean, be sure that you are using, you are not, if the data are, much diverse, avoid using mean. Okay, but in most of the cases, when we do statistical calculation, we basically work on mean. Okay. The next is the coefficient of variation. The coefficient of variation is equal to the standard deviation divided by the mean multiplied by 100%. So coefficient is actually your 100% values. The unlike the measures of variation presented we discussed earlier, the coefficient of variation measures the scatter in the data relative to the mean. The coefficient of measures is the relative measures of the variation that is always expressed as the percentage rather than in terms of the unit of the particular data. So, for equation for coefficient of variance is sample some sample variance. Okay, that sample variance and sample variance divided by mean into 100%. Okay, so we know how to calculate the sample variance and know how to calculate the mean, so we can get the coefficient of variation. Okay, say for example, in our example that we took 10 getting this ready times, so mean is 39.6 and samples s is your standard deviation is 6.677. Okay, so 6.77 divided by standard deviation divided by mean into 100%. So 6.77 divided by 39.66 into 100%, that is coming as 17.10%. So for getting ready, the standard deviation is 17. The coefficient of standard deviation is 17.1 points of the size of the mean. The coefficient of variation is especially useful when computing two or more set of the data that are measured in different units. Now, other measures of the variance is the Z-score. The Z-score or of the data value is the difference between the values of the mean divided by the standard deviation. Z-score can help identify outliers. Outliers are one of the important part. We will be discussing outliers in many cases. Say outliers is basically when we are talking about the data. Let's talk about the salary of the employees in the organization. So there are salaries of CEO, there are salaries of peon, and there are salaries of different employees that are associated. In general, the salary of the CEO is way ahead the average salary of the in all the employees taken together. Okay, in many cases taken together, or in most of the cases it is way ahead from the mean. So now when we calculate the values, now this is important to understand that when we are talking about mean, when we discuss about mean, that we have the extreme values or the higher values in the entire data that is destructing the mean. Okay, so whatever the mean that we are coming up with or the data that we are getting in case of the mean get disturbed because of some values that has got a very high or very low values. Okay, now those very high or very low values are basically called as the outlier. Now Z-score actually also helps us to identify the outlier as the value that seem extensively different from most of the rest of the values. So values that are very different from the mean, that is very different from the mean, will have either very small negative Z-score or very large positively Z-score. As a general, the Z-score value that is less than minus 3.0 or greater than 3.0, greater than plus 3.0. So minus less than minus 3.0 and greater than plus 3.0 indicates an outlier value. The formula to calculate the z square is the value minus mean divided by standard deviation. So let's use our example to understand the question of your z square is that now the mean is coming as 39.6, the standard deviation is 6.77 minutes, and the time to get ready on the first day is 39 minutes. So you compute the z square value of the day one using this formula. Okay, so you get the z square value of minus 0.09. Okay. Similarly, for all the values, we calculate the z square value. The largest z square value in here in our case is 1.83 on the day 4, and which is time to get ready was 52 minutes. The lowest z score is minus 1.57, that is on the day 2, on which the time to get ready was 29 minutes. Because none of the z score values is less than minus 3.0 and greater than plus 3.0, you can conclude that getting ready ready times includes no apparent outliers. Okay, so there is no day on the entire data that we see is having the dates related to or increasing that is considered as the outlier or disturbing the mean. That is one of the benefits of calculating the z score. Okay. Now when we are talking about the z score, we also need to talk about the shapes. Now the pattern of the distribution of data values throughout the entire range of all the values is called the shape. The shape of the distribution of data values can be described in this two statistical terminologies, that is skewness and kurtosis. Skewness measures the extent to which the data values are not symmetrically around the mean. In perfectly symmetrical distribution, the values between the mean are distributed in exactly the same way as the value above the mean, and the skewness is zero. In a skewed distribution, there is an imbalance of the data values below and above the mean. The skewness is a non-zero value. So we have got negatively skewed or positively right skewed. Okay, so in case of the negative or the left skewed, or the that is what we resemble as the panel A, the distribution of the data is left skewed. In this panel, most of the values are in the upper position of the distribution. A long tail of distortion of the left is caused by some extremely small values. Because the skewness statistics for a distribution will be less than the zero, the term negative skew is also used to describe the distribution. These extreme small values pull the mean downward so that the mean is less than the median. Okay. So in case of negatively skewed, the mean is less than the median. In case of the symmetrical panel, the distribution of the data values is symmetrical. The portion of the curve below the mean is the minor image, mirror image of the proportion of the curve above the mean. There is no asymmetry of the data values below and above the mean. The mean equals to the median, and as noted earlier, the skewness is zero. Okay, so mean is equal to median, and it is symmetrical, and the skewness is zero. In case of positively or right is skewed, most of the values are in the lower portion of the distribution. A long tail on the right side is caused by some extremely large values. because the skewness statistics for such distribution will be greater than the zero, the term positive skewed is also used to describe the distribution. These extremely large values pull the mean upward so that the mean is greater than the median. The observation for the mean and the median is generally on the most of the distribution of the continuous numerical values. So summarizing for that, mean, if it is mean is less than median, it will be negative. Okay, mean is equal to median, it is symmetric or zero skewness. Mean is greater than median, it is positively or right skewed. The next point is in case of shapes is the kurtosis. Kurtosis measures the extent to which the values that are very different from the mean affects the shape of the distribution of the set of the data. Kurtosis affects the peakedness. That is, this is basically what we call as the peak. Okay, so the of the curve, that is how sharply the curve rises approaching the center of the distribution. Kurtosis compares the shape of the peak to the shapes of the peak of the normal distribution, which is by definition has a kurtosis of zero. A distribution that has sharp rising center peak, then the peak of the normal distribution has the positive kurtosis, a kurtosis value that is greater than zero, and is called as the lipocurotic. The distribution that has the slower rising center and then peak at the normal distribution has the negative kurtosis and the kurtosis value less than zero and is called as the platykurtotic. The lipocurotic distribution has the highest value, that higher concentration on the values near the mean of the distribution compared to the normal distribution, while polycuratic distribution has the lower concentration compared to a normal distribution. In the affecting the shape of the central peak, the relative concentration of the values near the mean also affects the end or tails in the curve of the distribution. A lipocurotic distribution has the flatter tails, many more values in the tail than the normal distribution has. If the decision making the set of the data mistakenly assumes a normal distribution when in fact the data from the lipocurotic distribution, then the decision making them underestimate the occurrence of the extreme values. Such an observation that is on the bias of the several explanation and unanticipated reverses and collapse of the financial market that experienced in the recent past. So we will be looking at some of the examples using this in the last two sections, that is measures of central tendency and the shapes and the variation. Okay, and understand using some examples that is related to our business decision, and then we will understand how this all the shapes and variation actually helps us in deciding the business scenarios.